What are the costs when you are a listing agent? When you're a buying agent, or when you're doing buys, typically the costs are more around gas, a lot of gas, driving around, a lot of time, right? And there's time, a lot of time spent when you're on listing or buying, but you could be driving around for days and days and hours, right? And now we're not going to talk about the cost of the realtor's time. We're just going to talk about kind of hard costs. You hear a lot of the time people saying, oh, realtors make a lot of money, and there's some truth to that. A lot of realtors make very little money, and few realtors, I would say, make a lot of money. If you have a good business and you've invested in the business, you're full-time, you're committed to educating yourself and being a really good realtor, yes, you can earn a good living. But with that comes a lot of cost and a lot of risk. Now, we're not going to get into like the fixed costs in terms of like your licensing, your brokerage costs, all that kind of stuff. Let's just talk about the cost when listing a property. So you got your photography, videography, custom websites. That can range anywhere from $500 to $2,000. Then you got your staging costs, which could range anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000. Depending on the size of the house, it could be even more. Then you've got all those high-end brochures. That could cost around $200 to $300. Advertising, depending if you're doing online, print, or both, that could range anywhere from $200 to $1,500. Pre-inspections on the listing property ranges from $450 to about $750. Signage, whether it's inside, outside, delivery of that ranges from probably $50 to $100. And then let's just say miscellaneous of $100 to $200. And again, we have not accounted for any of the realtor's time. This is just hard costs. So you got anywhere from $3,000 to almost $10,000 in hard costs. For one, the realtor will not get back for probably 3 to 6 months, depending on the timeline of the closing and how much time before the listing is taking place. And on top of that, while they're spending this money, they're not always certain they're even going to necessarily get the sale. The house maybe won't sell, they may not get paid depending on what happens. I mean, it doesn't typically happen that way, but that's also a risk. So you've got quite a bit of cost, quite a bit of risk. And yes, with that comes some reward if you are a good realtor and you have committed and invested your time and you treat it like a business, then yes, you can earn a good living. And again, we haven't talked about the brokerage fees, the licensing, all that kind of stuff. We haven't gotten into that. These are just hard costs associated to listing property.